at least the last couple of weeks I've been able to entertain everyone and get everyone's mind off like all the other horrible stuff that's going on in the world right now. Like at least everybody can have a good laugh, you know. So
well, I mean, it's a subject of discussion. So like everybody is getting involved, and then somehow or another it became cultural. And then there was Dwight.
Somehow or another, like fucking every right winger in the world was posting your track all at once in one single day. I like all of a sudden, if you looked at your timeline, it's just like Matt Walsh, Charlie Kirk, you know, Michael Knowles, Benny Johnson, all being like, "This is the voice of the people. Here it is, the song we've all been waiting for." Finally, someone calls out the welfare recipients. Oliver Anthony, the auteur, the poet, the seminal artist of our time, maybe one of the headliners at Fire Festival too. Could see it actually. That could work. Yeah, he has gone from a virtually unknown country music singer to the first question at the GOP Republican debates, all because he had the bravery to call out welfare recipients fat on their fudge rounds. And you know what's wild? He's gone from being a massive Joe Rogan fan, because he included Joe Rogan videos in his, you know, noggin for your boggin playlist or whatever, the one that had all the, like, anti-Semitic 9/11 conspiracy theory videos. Joe Rogan was in there. So he's clearly a fan. And then he got to go on Joe Rogan's podcast.
The Joe Rogan experience.
And you're going to have to deal with that soon. Because I guarantee you, there's going to be some people that are making some CGI.
Oh, there are. There already
out
are.
there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
What is that? I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with a lot just because, you know, I'm doing... So anything social media related right now, or any internet presence I have right now is coming from me off the phone, just like before everything blew up.
There's already AI? Let's see.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit play, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, right back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me.
What's going on in the background though? Something weird. I feel like there's a backup Alex Jones being like,
People like you wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world.
yeah, like what is going on in the background? AI, I think you're confused. But that was fast.
I've been selling my soul, working all day.
This sounds good.
Overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to the people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is.
But it is.
Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do.
So instead of FUD rounds, yeah, you can talk about propane accessories.
So I haven't invested the time to like look at everything circulating, but people like friends and family have sent me stuff, and some of it's pretty funny, but you know, they've got all these different AI remixes of the song with different voices and overlaid different faces and all, and it's funny to see where it's going to go, you know.
That is funny. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that. My daughter sent me some advertisement. She goes, "Did you do this advertisement?" I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah.
Nope, that's not really my voice.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it is my
the
voice,
day
but
after the day after things blew up, one of the towing companies had an ad on Facebook that had it wasn't really me, but it was a red beard and like the side profile of sunglasses looking out the window. I'm like, okay,
how dare you?
I guess I've made it anyway. That's when I realized like people are already ripping things off. And what's crazy is like every shirt that I've worn anywhere in public, there's there's a organization that I'm not like officially related to or in any way have done anything with, but it's a friend of a friend in the neighborhood. It's called Nets with Vets, and they take out veterans with PTSD and let them go deep sea fishing, and So he asked me last minute just to wear his shirt at one of the concerts. And do you know now there's like 1,500 listings online for counterfeit Nets with Vets shirts? And so the organization reached out like, hey, are you like making shirts ripping us off? And I said, it's like, it's not me. So it's like, it's a weird thing. But yeah, I've already experienced a lot of that stuff. Not so much on the AI side, but just, I don't know, the internet's just such a rowdy place, you know?
Oh, it's so rowdy. The world's a rowdy place.
It is, and maybe people bring their best and their worst on the internet. Like I've always tried to stay off social media as much as possible, but I've learned very quickly that like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like you see comments and feedback from people, both overwhelmingly positive that maybe you wouldn't get in a personal conversation, but also like overwhelmingly negative too, you know?
Yeah.
People just use that as a vent that they just take whatever seething hatred they have inside of them. They're like, oh, I'm getting that guy with it, you know?
If you had a song just about love that resonated like that, it would be almost impossible to hate you. But you have a song where you're talking about how people are fed up with shit, and it obviously resonated. I mean, I've seen songs go viral, but that's pretty bananas, son. Your shit went to the moon right away. And God, I'm not sure who sent it to me. I'll have to find out who sent it to me, because it's one of those things where like once one person sent it to me, then it was like dozens of people were sending it to me.
It's funny because originally that song wasn't really even in my top 5. Like, it's not normally the type of song. I've written songs with similar messages, but as far as that sort of like, I guess, anthem format is what people are calling it. It's like an anthem. Like, that's not something I would normally write, but
it's an unlikely anthem.
Yeah.
You know, insane times. It would be an unlikely anthem.
Yeah, I had no idea that song would react the way it did. At least in my case, I think the one...
It's funny because like there's one other song that went even more viral at the same time, but like, you know, the messages are pretty similar, I'd say.
Thing that's helped me too is that my singing isn't the best, but I've never had any like vocal lessons or anything, so the way I sing is just the way I sing.
Your singing's great. It's the only thing about you that I can't really criticize, right? And I also don't think, like, I know everyone's basically trying to be like, oh, he's a plant, he's a psyop, he's a this, he's a that. If you were to take him at brass tacks, just believe him for his word. It sounds like someone who has been brain poisoned on the internet by watching tons and tons of people like Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, the people who were in his playlist, right? If you watch those people all the time, then yeah, you might start thinking that the cause of a lot of the problems in the world happens to be greedy welfare recipients who are just becoming obese and are lazy and don't want to work, and then they're taking your hard-earned tax dollars, the government. They're the bad guys. It's the government, not like actual literal, you know, capitalists, rich men, stuff like that, but it's the government. They take your hard-earned tax dollars, your life sucks, and then they give it all to the lazy, fat, fudge round eaters, right?
And so, like, I think even the same way with her and other people, it's like, it's maybe rough around the edges, it could be a little pitchy, or it's, you know, you're not using the right part of your face when you project and whatever, and so like on paper things aren't quite right, but I guess to another human it's like it sounds right, because it is what it is, you know?
It's authentic.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any right way to do anything. I mean, it's like you see it in everything. There's a person who violates the rules.
I've been selling my soul.
Oh my God.
Working all day. Overtime hours. The bullshit place so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to.
Oh my God. Nightmare fuel.
And they're the best at it.
and then the rules almost morph into whatever that is. Like, it's funny, like with music. Yeah,
Richmond, north of Bucharest. Yeah.
Country in particular, but music in general has gotten way too wrapped up in like this algorithm of how many beats per minute it needs to have and how many verses and how they need to be layered. And it's like they've almost created this sort of like industry standard, like OSHA rule book of how music needs to be performed. And so
That's brand new, by the way. That only just recently happened. Yeah, it's wild. It sucks, you know. Maybe kind of like circa 2018. That wasn't the case. There wasn't like entire fucking corporate structures where they were trying to just use the 4 same chords over and over and over again in every single pop song, to the point where you can actually do super compilations where you mix and match fucking like 37 different pop hits and then realize they all have the same chord. Like, that's all new.
So, like, you can only do that so many thousands of times before people are like, okay, what else is there, you know?
Well, people like that, too. That's the thing. There's a lot of damn people. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people.
There's a lot
The
of
problem,
people.
I think, with a lot of people is they want you to like what they like. And if you don't like what they like, what you like sucks. It's funny like that, man. We're so tribal. We are tribal with our cell phones. You know, we're an Android or PC. You know,
Oh, we're all
Android
about
people
brands,
have to stick
yeah.
together. It's like we're so weird. We're so weird, but we're like that with our musical tastes. We're like that with our cultural sensitivities, or our cultural sensibilities, rather. Like the way we feel about life and how life should be. We want everybody to kind of think along the ways that we think. It's very strange. And when a person like yourself gets labeled a right-wing, left-wing fanatic, like right out of the gate.
both in like a week and a half, then yeah, at least I know I'm doing something right. Like, to me,
Yeah, they're looking for
You're
your Biden
calling out the
campaign
power.
contributions now. They're going through your fucking taxes. The whole thing is so bonkers, man. Like, can't they just accept that you made a great song and people enjoy it?
Yeah.
Why does it why do people have to attack it?
well, I think it's just for whatever reason I've
Attack
been
it.
I'm the subject matter the last couple weeks, and you know, in everyone's defense, I probably haven't. I've waited for this opportunity, I guess, to really have a real conversation with somebody about whatever it is I am. So people are just trying
I'm going to speed it up. They talk very slowly.
to find who's this Oliver Anthony
Oh,
guy,
so
and
much
what is he,
better.
and where does he work, and who did he vote for, and what's his family like, and yada, because they want to sort of build this image of whatever it is that the person behind the song represents, for better or for worse. The
Right.
people who agree with it want to, you know, I don't know. It's really funny to watch on my end, because obviously I know what's true and what's not, and so like just even what I've skimmed through of people sending me like like singing at the Super Bowl, like how many people have formed an opinion about whether or not I should be paid to sing at the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not singing at the Super Bowl. That's just somebody made up. But you know, there's been hundreds of hours of people's time wasted probably talking about.
I mean, the politics are already there. That's it, right? Like, that's why everyone doesn't get to play like, oh, I was just trying to make a song that spoke to what I was thinking and how I feel and what, like, you know, what it is to be an American today in the modern society, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, there is a political message. Like, I fucking, anyone who thinks that music, especially fucking country music, rock music, fucking bluegrass, all that stuff is unpolitical, apolitical, like all that kind of shit, it's absolutely ridiculous. To you, is it just sounds, Alice Cooper? Do you just like neat noises? Do you just like bleep, blop, zip, zerp? And then you're like, well, that one's good. I like that one more than the other ones. Paul Ryan being fucking obsessed with Rage Against the Machine. You're the fucking machine, sir. Like, okay, fine. Rage Against myself, I guess.
All these little like things that don't even exist. It's just somebody made them up and put them on the internet, and so I'm just letting them ride. I think it's great.
wild.
I just think it's great. Like that, at least the last couple weeks, I've been able to entertain everyone and get everyone's mind off like all the other horrible stuff that's going on in the world right now. Like at least everybody can have a good laugh, you know. So
Well, I mean, it's a subject of discussion. So like everybody is getting involved, and somehow or another it became cultural. And then there was Dwight.
Somehow or another, like fucking every right winger in the world was posting your track all at once in one single day. I like all of a sudden, if you looked at your timeline, it's just like Matt Walsh, Charlie Kirk, fucking, you know, Michael Knowles, fucking Benny Johnson, all being like, this is the voice of the people. Here it is, the song we've all been waiting for. Finally, someone calls out the welfare recipients.
From The Office.
oh yeah,
He fucking chimed in that if he was going to write a cultural anthem, what did he say? Something like he wouldn't write about overweight people on welfare. He would write about billionaires and their taxes.
yeah.
There's nothing funnier than millionaires talking shit about billionaires. There's nothing funnier about millionaires pretending.
Here we go, Joe. That's your show, Joe. That's your show. That's what your show is. Yeah. You're a multimillionaire. You could be closer to a billionaire these days. I mean, if you're getting 200 million just from Spotify, you're a rich man. You're a rich man north of LA. That's what you are. That's what you're doing right now. Yeah.
These billionaires are out.
Yeah, he's a rich
Oh,
man.
yeah. And then, you know, take Dwight from The Office down to West Virginia. You know, take them through those coal mining countries. Take them through those places in Appalachia where people have extreme poverty
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
but
and
man, I'll
pills
check it
have
out.
ravished those areas. Take them through there.
And it's everywhere. Yeah, the sad thing is it's everywhere now. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. People right off the get-go, I guess because it was Radio WV that posted the original video, but like I've never once advertised myself as being necessarily from the mountains. My grandfather grew up in western part of Virginia in the mountains, but I'm from Farmville, which is technically Piedmont. But even throughout rural Virginia, that poverty.
It's funny and ridiculous to shit on billionaires as a millionaire, but it's normal and makes sense to shit on poor people as a billionaire, or even as a millionaire, right? Like, even if you're a millionaire, and like, imagine fucking, like, if Bernie Sanders released some fucking, you know, bluegrass song about how, like, you know, shitty welfare recipients are. It's like, so you're just shitting on people who already have really bad lives. I mean, there's a lot of working poor who have to take welfare or food stamps or any other provision that they can get just to be able to make ends meet. It's like you are, just by definition, punching down.
Is a big issue, and drugs are a big issue. And I mean, it's not just even in the rural areas. You go into downtown Richmond or any downtown anywhere for that matter. It's like, it's almost like, yeah, these problems exist.
Well, yeah, but why do you think that is? Is that simply because of welfare recipients? Because those fucking lazy-ass welfare recipients can't help themselves? You know, it used to be fudge rounds, but now it's just fucking oxys, you know? Just fucking getting strung out on oxys, you know? Is that going to be the next song coming out? Or are the rich men, aka Purdue Pharma, fucking working really, really hard to try and push a what they knew was strong and addictive drug to a bunch of different doctors around the country to start prescribing to people for things as simple as breaking your hand or something. It's like, oh, well, we have a safe alternative now. You can take Oxycontin. It's slow release. And so basically what it's going to do is just going to release a whole bunch of slow things. Don't ask what those things are, you know, some light stuff, hydromorphone, I don't know, Oxycontin and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's just going to slowly release it over a period of like 12 hours. And then once your hand's all healed up, you'll be good. You can stop taking them. And yeah, that's, I guess, the end of the story, right? That's where the story ends.
Everywhere now that are, and I mean, obviously they are, because
They
that's
exist
why the song resonated the way it did. The problem for me was, well, I knew that I needed to do this. Like, I knew I needed to. I procrastinated with music a long time. I mean, I'm 31.
Yeah, good luck stopping.
I've been playing guitar and singing on and off since I was a kid. Like, my grandma was in a band years ago, and so like I remember as a little kid, what got me interested in all of it was going, you know, Dukes of Hazzard when I was a kid. I was like 5, and I used to sit with my grandma, and we'd sit and watch Dukes of Hazzard and watch Waylon Jennings pick that guitar. Of course, I had no idea who Waylon Jennings was, but that just, like, I just fell in love with that, and so grew up listening to, like,
Political Poppy.
Gave Lord of the Roboflies a tier 1 subscription.
Thanks, Political Puppy. I appreciate that. Yeah, everyone, if you don't already know, come to the Serfs.tv. You can subscribe. None of the money goes to Jeffrey Bezos. You can feel guilt-free. And if you want to gift subs, that's the place to do it. Because, again, none of the money goes to Jeffrey Bezos.
that 70s country, and she loved all the old stuff like the 50s and 60s, and even in the 70s, even, you know, Janis and all that. And so, like, she really introduced me a lot into music when I was a little kid, and so, like, I just kind of held on to it, but never pursued it the way I should. And then I'd play at a bonfire party, or I'd play at whatever, it's a friend's house, and everybody's like, man, you got to do something with this, you know, you don't want to waste this talent you've got and whatever. And that would almost make me feel even shittier, because I'm like, oh man, I suck, like, I'm such a piece of crap for not doing something with this. And so yeah, like when I was outside of work, it's like I'd drink, I'd get just absolutely stoned, and I would just sit around and try to think about anything but what it was that I really needed to be doing, which was like, and so, and it's kind of like funny, but that's ended up what kind of sparked me into like writing all these songs and doing all this stuff, because it's like I don't know, just like with you, probably with some what you do, jiu-jitsu or whatever, it's like for me, songwriting it gets my head, like you said, getting your head clear, you know, because that's all you can. And songwriting is interesting for different people, but now that I've been in the industry for 2 weeks, and I've talked to like
now that you've been in the industry, you conquered it.
Now that I'm an industry expert, it's like
Yeah,
some of the
this
other
is-
musicians.
this is
I've talked
how
to,
it
like,
works.
people I've
This
looked
is
up
a
to over the
normal
years, they
trajectory.
experience this too, but certain people, when you songwrite, it's a very
Basically, any of you, if you want to, you could probably become a famous musician tomorrow. You just got to stop fucking taking them welfare checks. Don't be lazy, okay? Stop that. Stop eating fudge rounds. Get off your ass and write some songs. And once you put the songs out there, it's basically just a matter of minutes. You'll find that, poof, all of a sudden you are famous and rich too.
it's dramatic. Like,
Do you write all your own songs?
yeah, but it's
Have you been accused of not writing your own songs?
very early on, yeah, because since my I guess it's not even my stage name, it's Oliver Anthony Music, and so it's supposed to represent music from, you know, Oliver Anthony Music is my grandfather, and so he grew up in the 30s in the mountains and used to tell all these wild stories about how life was back then, but the music's just sort of a characterization of like that period in time and those people, you know, and that's, so yeah, when
So your real name is not Oliver?
Christopher Anthony Lunsford is my real legal name, and so that's what's on like if you look up the
Why
songwriting.
did you decide to sing as Oliver Anthony? Just in
Well, like I said, I just had the YouTube channel listed as Oliver Anthony Music. just because like that's sort of the demeanor or the, like I said, the character I was like that older Virginia style music. Like if you go on YouTube and you look up that type of,
it's easy to write a populist song. Let's see. I'm going to put it into ChatGPT. I'm going to get it to write a populist country music song about how people who control everything are actually capitalists. They exploit your labor and control politicians, and the poor are forced to go on welfare. Let's see if ChatGPT can do it. Here we go. Well, gather round, folks, I got a tale to tell about the hard-working folks caught in a wicked spell. There's big old capitalists, they're pulling all strings, while politicians dance to the tune the greed sings. They build the mighty towers of silver and gold, while we're down here struggling just to break the mold. They say they're job creators, but what's the deal? Exploiting our labor while they spin their wheel. The capitalist reigns with a grip so tight, squeezing out our dreams in the dead of night. Politicians in their pockets like puppets on strings, leaving the poor no choice to spread their wings. That was the ChatGPT in 2 seconds. If you could give it to someone who can actually sing, because I'm fucking, as you can tell, terrible. But there you go. That was there it is.
music from back then, like those old recordings of people. Like that's what I just love that type of stuff.
Do you think you're gonna keep that name?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people still call me Chris, and I've posted on social media, call me whatever. I mean, I've been called a lot worse than either of those things, but yeah, it'll stay Oliver Anthony music indefinitely. Yeah, it's a special name, and it's a special name to me not only because it was my grandfather's name, but it's sort of like, to me, it reminds me of how.
I'll be honest, having listened to him like speak candidly with Joe Rogan, I don't genuinely feel that this dude is a massive like op or an astroturf. I think it's one of those things where the truth is often a lot more boring than all the conspiracies online. I think there are certainly actors, especially like there's already been evidence that one of the people who was promoting him is directly associated with a lot of right-wing digital media entrepreneurism. So there's no question that they ran with it and they fucking grabbed it, promoted it, and pushed it, and then that is all of a sudden in a day it pops up on every single right. Like that shit is all, yeah, that can be coordinated. But in terms of him, it just sounds like every ANCAP libertarian brain fucking Joe Rogan fan. Right? Like that's exactly how you would find where he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't like the GOP either. They're also the problem. It's the government. The problem is government and lazy people. So if we could just get rid of government, lazy people, we would have ourselves Ancapistan. You know, it would be the total dream.
But yeah,
so you were just smoking too much weed, drinking too much, and just procrastinating.
Yeah. And so that, and you know, like, anxiety is definitely something that's underestimated. You know, I used to not laugh about, but I used to just not really understand when people talked about mental health and anxiety, because everyone gets stressed out over stuff, and so you think of anxiety as being just like this normal phenomenon everyone deals with. But your mind can really put you in a dark place to where that thing it just like,
true.
It just holds on to you like a you know,
true.
It just makes it very difficult for you to do anything. And so yeah, I spent at least 2 years of my life almost constantly just having what felt like just a knot right here, just wrenching at me.
Well, that's
you know?
especially true for people that are pursuing a non-traditional life. You know, that doesn't have any.
But like, where was that going? Because he's talking about how, oh yeah, you know, you used to be drinking and smoking weed, and you were, you know, you're just throwing your life away, and then you decided to make something of yourself. Good for you. Good for you. You could have gone the other way. You could have gone on welfare. Could have just spent your days, you know, gaming, jerking off, wasting your time, getting rid of your essence. But instead, you channeled it, you know, into the voice of the people.
Guarantees. It's a wild life to try to be an entertainer, like to just to choose to try to make it in this wild world of people that are singing and making songs, and you want people to pay attention to you. Like, do you know how many fucking people are singing? How many people can sing? How many people are recording things? And now with YouTube and the like, how many people are putting stuff up on the internet for other people to enjoy? It's a lot.
Well,
the idea that you're going to stand out, so that you're filled with anxiety just because of that, because this future's uncertain.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of the anxiety came from me just feeling like I was running out of time.
Well, there you have it, everyone. My vote is less AstroTurf, less the entire thing was an op, and more a lot of key players are utilizing it and taking it for what they will, running with it, and trying to put a triangle into a square peg or whatever you want to call it, whereas the dude is pretty fucking libertarian, ANCAP in his beliefs. Basically, the bad guy is government. government's the rich men. And not that government doesn't have problems, and not that rich men don't influence government, and not that every single government official should not be fucking allowed to buy and trade stocks if they're going to pass legislation on the very corporations in which they can profit from. That's fucked up. That's wrong. There is a lot of corruption in the government, so there's some slivers of truth in that in and of itself, but that's not the sole cause of everyone's problems, and certainly the poor aren't either. The poor are not keeping the rest of the poor poor. That's not how the system works, honestly, you know? Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This show is produced by amazing people like you, and if you want to help us out, please consider donating over at patreon.com/theserfs. The show is made possible thanks to Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Laminia Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Pappy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Sir Nickus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demo, Tech Tink, Trevbot EXE, Words Greenwood, and not to mention all of the amazing and fabulous people you now see before you.